withdrawal order requesting a bank customers' social media handles, other details, or face legal action, SERAP tells Nigerian bank. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged Mr. Folashodun Shonubi, the acting governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, to immediately delete the patently unlawful provisions in the Central Bank of Nigeria customer due diligence regulations directing banks to obtain information on customers' social media handles for the purpose of identification. SERAP also urged him to withdraw the circular number as detailed of 20th of June 2023, mandating banks and other financial institutions to implement and comply with the unlawful mandatory provisions on customers' social media handles in the CBN regulations. According to Section 6, subsection A, subsection 4 of the CBN regulations, banks and other financial institutions shall identify the customer and obtain information on the social media handle of the customer. Section 6, subsection B, subsection 3 contains similar provision. In the letter dated June 24, 2023 and signed by SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization said the CBN regulations and directive to banks to obtain details of customers' social media address violates Nigerians' right to freedom of expression and privacy. It is inconsistent and incompatible with the rule of law. The CBN ought to contribute to the advancement of respect for the rule of law and human rights in the discharge of its statutory functions and not undermine or violate these fundamental legal requirements and standards. The purported mandatory requirement would inhibit Nigerians from freely exercising their human rights online. If obtained, such information may also be misused for political and other unlawful purposes. SERAP said it would be grateful if the recommended measures are taken within 3 days of the receipt and or publication of this letter. If we have not heard anything from you by then, SERAP shall take appropriate legal actions to compel you and the CBN to comply with our request in the public interest. It expressed concerns that the CBN regulations and directive to banks and other financial institutions would impermissibly restrict their constitutional and international rights to freedom of expression, privacy, and victims' rights to justice and effective remedies. It further said requiring social media handles or addresses of customers as a means of identification would have a disproportionate chilling effect on the effective enjoyment by Nigerians of their right to freedom of expression and privacy online. The CBN bears the burden of justifying any restriction on people's freedom of expression and privacy under the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended and human rights treaties to which the country is a state party. Any restrictions on these rights must be applied strictly so that the rights are not put in jeopardy. There are other means of identification such as passport, driver's license, bank verification number, tax identification number, which banks and other financial institutions may require their customers to provide. The additional requirement of obtaining details of a customer's social media handle or address fails to meet the requirements of legality, necessity, and proportionality. SERAP said that CBN failed to show how details of customers' social media handles or addresses would assist banks and other financial institutions to effectively implement and comply with the laws and regulations relating to customer due diligence. Interesting. You know what is actually funny? I think SERAP and like other institutions and bodies that regulate human rights or choose to partake and actually oversee how things are run, they do tend to use "we're going to take you to court orders," and all I say is you're speaking English, because the government, if they want to do something, they have proven time and time again to do it without care or consideration for the people. Of course, it does not make sense. I mean, of all decisions that you should be making as regards identification of your citizens, that you cannot even give a number of how much or how many people are in your country, or you say around about, this number of people are in this country. So if you cannot do that, why would you think? And social media, people make multiple accounts, fake accounts. Not that everyone is even on social media as themselves. Do they not understand this, proportion of people called trolls? Most trolls, or those that are just, I don't know, internet renters, or whatever you want to call them, they barely even have their own identity on social media, right? And so it just doesn't make sense. Of course it doesn't make sense, and they know it doesn't make sense, but again, it's probably a distraction for something else that is happening. Like, come on, we haven't even verified anyone can get a driver's license without even knowing how to drive. You know what I mean? The passport, not everyone has a passport. So it's like, you need to push these avenues of identification that already exist. If you want to make it digital and in a way for you to access the great. But social media is not in any way effective as a means or as a mode of identification. I mean, what do you want? Again, the SERAP has literally said they haven't given enough reason to conclude and make it as simple, because SERAP spoke a lot of English, using a lot of legal terms. They haven't given any reason as to why, social media is and what social media platform, because it therefore can be Twitter, Instagram, okay, some respect. Facebook, you are now cutting your demographic because you are literally looking at a certain age or segment of your population, and you therefore, if the best would probably be TikTok, but then what is it? If there's another trending app in the next 2-3 years, then do we then change our mode of identification? Come on, that does not make sense. It's not sustainable. So most likely this is a distraction to just get people arguing, because of course it does not make sense. Of course, one's first reaction would be to question the sanity or the likelihood, or if it even makes sense. So yeah, I mean, come on. So it must be something bigger. It must be something that, honestly, or we're just back on resumption. As I said, post-election results, everyone's gone back to normal. The hype, it's not there anymore. So I think it's one of them conversations that is like, okay, we are back. As in, we have the usual bandit attacks. We are having things about an Amotekun, IPOB, and in this case, SERAP, calling out the CBN on, their modes of whatever it is. So yes, basically, there's nothing else I can say, because we eat up controversy, we eat up any kind of news anyhow. So this is just tantamount to saying, well, we've resumed school. Put I think in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.